Prepádeme na to, začíname. Je streda 22.7.2026. Máme 6 klikožrutov, 190, 80, 70, 60 klikstehov. Začíname 17.22, prvá séria 100 klikožrutov, 100 klikstehov. Začíname 976. Začíname 976. relaxačný tréningový deň. Je streda 22.7.2026, 100 klikožrutov, 5 sérií klikožrutov, 190, 80, 70, 60 klikstehov. Začíname 17.23, prvá séria 100 klikožrutov, 100 klikstehov. Púšťame Píčesa, ako bude ospievať Báne v Power Exile ako podmac.
The molten cavity and molten cavity is guaranteed to contain a faceted fossil. There is, of course, more. There are also three bosses. Ahwatli the Blind, definitely didn't pronounce that quite right. He is the primary source of Doriani's Machinarium, but not the only one. Technically, this is available through, I want to say, Rin in fortification strongholds, but, fairly rare. But this is no longer on the, requirement for the seasonal challenge, as I understand. However, it is a source of a pretty valuable pair of unique boots that are supposedly getting a big buff in the coming patch, so it might still be a pretty valuable map. But then there are other things like these rings, these Akili, Patembo, and Bazaza's Mountain Valley and Meadow can be combined together to create some pretty powerful charge stacking rings, which, depending on how you've done them together and how RNG comes out, you can make hundreds of divines off of this. That happened for us last league, and it's pretty cool. So there are three different bosses. There's Ahwatli the Blind, like I said better this time, that's the Vol boss, Hergul the Black Blooded, that's the Abyss boss, and then All the Crystal King, who is the Delve boss. When I last looked here, I did have one of those bosses kind of on the map here, and basically the way that they'll work is there will be these city areas that just kind of have this very basic yellow border around them, like they're selected in a spreadsheet or something, and then sometimes the bosses can spawn inside there, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the city nodes are okay. They have these little underground areas that kind of have just a bunch of random chests in them. You can find some valuable stuff in there, but they're usually not as good as fossil nodes. But fossils aren't the only source of great stuff, and bosses aren't also the only source of great stuff. There also are just random currency nodes around, which usually aren't great, but I'm kind of a sucker for these myself. Sometimes I get divines out of them. It's cool. And then there are Delve mod items. So you'll find these nodes around the Delve that have this contains cold items or fire or lightning, all the different elements. And within those areas, you're able to find some Delve-specific modifiers, things like Curse on Hit, but a lot of other Delve-specific modifiers. And there are also some minion nodes as well that have this sort of corpsey-looking icon.
They can also
drop they can just drop with
90 klikožrutov, 90 klikstehov.
Fractured Curse on Hit ring. That's not something you can get other than through Delve. That can be very valuable, especially on the correct base. You can be looking at double-digit divines on an amethyst ring with a fractured curse on it. A lot of the really good minion wands, if it's the correct roll on a minion wand, especially if it's fractured, that can also be multiple divines or double-digit or triple-digit divines if it's really, really perfect. So that's kind of the main draw of Delve. All of that plus the fact that it's costing you absolutely nothing to do. Now, there are hidden rooms, sort of these rooms that are kind of just isolated, and it is possible to reach these. The way that you reach them is you want to look around the area for Delve nodes that have an incorrect number of connections. So Delves are only able to have either one connection, meaning they're a dead end, or three joints, like this node right here, has an up, a left, and a down, or four. So up, all four directions, right? But it can only go in cardinal directions, there can't be any diagonals. So the only way that this could connect is either to this, which has three, up, right, and down, or clearly it's to this moldy camp right here. This only has two directions, one to the left and one to the right. That's not possible for a Delve node to only have two possible directions that it's going in. So that means this has to have a branching path up here to the north. It can cross over into different biomes, and that is in fact the way that we would get there. So we would just make our way to this area. Generally, it's best to do all the connecting nodes just so you make sure you're not running into darkness in the wrong section of the Delve Atlas, if you will. And then go out into the darkness, find the wall that you need to break down with dynamite, blow it up, and then make your way all the way back and run the minecart over to that hidden node. Most of the hidden nodes aren't worth going to, like this currency node isn't worth going to, but sometimes you'll find a hidden boss node or a hidden high-value fossil node, and that is worth going to. Alright, one final note on all the nodes is that this smuggler stash fossil node is the most commonly occurring of all the fossil nodes. The deeper you go, the less common you'll see it, the more you'll see the biome-specific ones. This one's okay. Like, it's definitely the more like common fossil showing up in it, but you can still get some decent drops out of it, but usually not anything like enormous. It is the specific nodes like Crystal Spire and Time Lost Cavern and all of that have a one specific fossil that they drop that winds up generally being the stuff that you're really chasing after. Alright, now let's mention Sulfite. So Sulfite
Ideme na to, tretia séria,
is
80 klikožrutov, 80
There
clicksterov.
are a lot of ways to do this. Normally I would show off an Atlas Massive Tree that has a bunch of Nico nodes in it, but we just had to change over back to Standard League, and that's not set up. But ultimately, like, the way that you get them is you just take all the Nico nodes. It really isn't any more complicated than that. You take Frantic Mining, you take all the rest of the stuff. Backward Energy is kind of a nice little bonus, even if you're not really interested in doing a lot with Delve, because you get this 60-second buff whenever you hit any of the Sulfite veins. It just gives you like increased damage, increased move speed, +1 all max all res. Just a really good bonus. Helps for zipping through maps very quickly. Guarded Hordes will put these Sulfite warding monsters that will drop a tiny bit of extra Sulfite around all of the Voltaxic Sulfite nodes in your maps. It's not a lot, it's like a couple hundred, but it's a non-zero increase to the amount of Sulfite that you find. So that's cool. You also have the chance to get double Sulfite out of mining byproducts. This does also work with Refiner's Bargain, which is why there's a bit of overlap between doing Kalgur, like ore farming, and doing Sulfite farming, doing Delve, is you can convert all of the Sulfite into random ores with Refiner's Bargain for Kalgur, and that will convert all of the ore that you find from the Sulfite nodes, but not all of the ore that you get from the little guys that you kill from Guarded Hordes. You'll still technically be Sulfite positive doing that strategy because of Guarded Hordes, and also because of Sulfite Infusion, which is one of the best nodes for just being able to consistently get more Sulfite to continue delving. 1,000 free Sulfite for every red tier map you complete, so if you can just snap through maps real fast, you're going to be consuming or generating tons of Sulfite very, very quickly. And then the final node for Delve, the one that is like a little weird, is the Price of Progress. Basically, you just get like a random thing each time you click one of your Sulfite chests. You get like either like a Minor Shrine, or like a Tormented Spirit, or a Strong Box. It's very weird that it is those three things. It's just some random stuff. So this is maybe the one optional node if you're doing Delve. All the rest of the nodes are really good though. In terms of Scarabs for farming Sulfite, there isn't really anything going on there that's special anymore. There used to be like a modifier that came with the Sulfite.
Ideme na to, štvrtá séria, 70 klikožrutov, 70 clicksterov.
The Sulfite Scarab Fumes gives you a bit of extra quantity on monsters around Sulfite veins. Pretty worthless. It's probably going to be free at the start of the league, so there's that positive to it, but it's so cheap that, or so low value that it's not really worth spending any amount of currency to get at all. I guess it adds a couple of extra packs into your maps. Woohoo. So one of the big rewards you get out of doing Delve, the one Delve-specific one, is Azurite. And this is a currency that is like self-contained. You're not able to trade this with other people. You use it for really two purposes. The first is for upgrading your crawler and upgrading your Voltax generator, and also buying more flares of dynamite. You need to do both of those things. And then the other is just for once you feel like you've upgraded your crawler enough, you just use it to buy primitive chaotic resonators at Nico. As you can see, I have a couple 100,000 of it, so that's quite a lot of these one-socket resonators. They don't sell for a ton, but you know, if you can buy a couple thousand of them, you're going to be still making a decent amount of currency out of that. So the thing about Darkness Resistance and Light Radius and all of the upgrades here at the Voltaxic Generator is a lot of dedicated deep delvers won't even bother with Darkness Resistance or Light Radius at all. They'll put in for maximum flares and dynamite, of course, and they'll upgrade their sulfite capacity a bunch. And maybe throw in a little duration on the flare as well. But then, as you scale deeper and deeper and deeper into the delve, your resistance to the darkness goes down, and your radius also goes down, eventually to the point where you cannot keep up with the costs, and even if you do keep up with the costs, you're still going to be like at 0 or negative, more realistically. So the thing is, for the content that we're doing, just shooting in the like 200 to 400 range, 150 to 400 range, that's not really a problem. It's actually pretty easy to keep up with darkness resistance and light radius for that.
Si pičúc. Páni, to dorazí posledná 5. séria. 60 klikožrutov, 60 klickstrelov. No, takže bude to baňa, lode, voda. Áno, baňa, lode, voda. Baňa, lode a voda. Dobre páni, je to za nami. Skončili sme. Tentokrát sa bude baňa pekelne otáčať. Takže táto Falvexel liga bude extrémne tvrdá. Baňa, lode, voda. Uvidíme, ako veľmi budeme točiť vodu, ale uvidíme. Ale páni, je to za nami, zrekapitulujme si to. 976. relaxačný tréningový deň za nami. Bola streda 22.7.2026. Skončili sme 17:34. Bol dlhý čas, trval 12 minút a 20 sekúnd.